Okay, Rosemary James. I am so excited for this interview. Before we kind of dig into it, I would love for you to tell anyone viewing what your business is.
So my business is Soul Mentor Rosemary James. I am a soul mentor, which is essentially a life coach. And the whole reason that I even wanted to create this business in the first place was to help people be able to create the types of life change that can affect their soul and their soul's journey and evolution.
I love that so much. I have a toddler waving to me in the other room. I love that so much. The next question that I have for you is, what led you to making the decision to invest in your visual branding? So together we kind of created your brand and your logo. What led you to making that decision?
I knew that I had tried doing my own website, and I tried doing branding, and I tried, kind of, tinkering with a lot of those types of things. And I recognized that there were people who really had that brand cohesion, and they had it together, and it really made them stand out from a lot of the other people that didn't have that brand in place yet. And so I already knew that I loved that idea and I wanted to have that for my business. Now, granted, I was in my business, working on my business for almost a year before I decided to hire you on as a brand, executive, doing all that work. But when I did realize that I wanted to commit to working with you, it was because I knew that I didn't want to spend any more time, trying to fix and tweak my own brand. And I realized that my brand was growing. I was gaining traction, and I wanted to be able to stand apart in that way, in that branding sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's one of the key things that a lot of women come to me for that reason, because they're spending hours working on graphics and then feeling frustrated that they're not what they want them to be. And then, like you said, having that cohesiveness and just being able to stand out from the crowd. So I love that. During our process together, was there something that was really stand out for you that you felt was extremely helpful in the process, or that really kind of set it apart from what you were doing before?
So in terms of working with you, there were two components. There was obviously the effects, the brands that you showed me, and then there was you and your own professionalism. So I could speak to both of those. In terms of when I would see the brands, I was always surprised at how easily you already knew the types of imagery and the types of feel that I wanted to create. You obviously did a really good job with that questionnaire in order to even get a lot of that information from me. But it was so natural that for me, it was a surprise when I saw the effects of it in your brands and that you were giving me. And then as far as working with you professionally, I loved every form of communication. Every touch point was an experience that made my heart sing. And so, yeah, it really makes a humongous difference when the person that you're working with sees your vision and wants to work with you and collaborate with you, rather than feel like, oh, I can't say that I don't like such and such, because then they're going to feel, offended, but you made it very, very easy and open to make corrections and make adjustments.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear that. Not only just like laying that foundation with the form that you filled out and kind of recreating your vision based off of that. I'm so happy I was able to create that, but more so just that experience of the overall feeling like it was more of a relationship versus just, you were hiring me to do the design work. So that makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your confidence in your business has shifted at all since you have this foundation in your graphics?
Most definitely. Not even a little bit. It's funny because, at the time that we're recording this, once we stopped our brand work, I decided to go way into the back, the behind the scenes, and do a lot of self-development work before I can step forward as that soul mentor that I've now branded myself as. And part of that, I think, believe it or not, even if only subconsciously, is because we've done such a phenomenal job of creating that brand foundation that I want to make sure that I can rise up to that person that I want to brand myself out there to be.
Totally. Yeah, I can relate to that too. You kind of have this, like your storefront, it's your brand is your storefront, and you want people coming into your circle to really feel that energy. So I can definitely relate to that feeling.
Yeah.
So I think that's really all I wanted to cover during this interview. Was there anything else that you wanted to share about the experience, or questions that you think other people might have jumping into hiring a designer and looking at their brand on kind of a larger scale? Is there anything you wanted to touch on there?
So one of the things that I know when I first started the brand process was I recognized that I was in the process of also hiring 2 coaches at the exact same time that I hired you. And I knew just by virtue of hiring 2 coaches from the space where I was at, where I was wondering what direction to take my business in, that it may not even be the right time to set up a designer where, now I'm setting up this storefront, and then what if I end up pivoting and doing something completely different? So even in that situation, I would say that it has served me tremendously well in order to have built that brand so that I can see that that is an option and very clearly what that option looks like. And then if I decide to step into it, I already have that foundation, kind of like that store built, all the foundation of that laid, and then I know what I can easily walk into. So most people, I think, by the time they're hiring you, aren't also trying to decide what direction to take their life in. So I would imagine that it's going to be a lot easier. And I think that, if your decision point is a matter of, should I do this work myself or should I hire someone else to do this work? I would say, if you're at that beginning stage where you're just trying to kind of figure out what it is that you can do that others can benefit from, it doesn't hurt to do branding on your own, or even learn how to do branding on your own before you hire someone like yourself who is able to take all of that in. But once you've kind of gotten into your groove and you know the rhythm of your business, and you want to be devoting more of your time into client acquisition, then hiring out the design is going to be well worth the dollars, because then it's like when you post something, now you have more power behind that post when it's branded behind it. So you're going to attract more of those eyes, and so not only are your words going to be more powerful, but the brand is going to kind of like magnify that message.
Yeah, it's kind of like taking that bird's eye view of your business, where if you don't have the brand and the graphics, then you kind of, you feel like you're showing up, but it's not that recognition piece. So I think that that's a really important, having that clarity of what you are doing in your business and how you serve people, and then translating that into the visuals is really important. Mm-hmm. So thank you for touching on that. All right. So where can people find you? I know, of course, I have you on my website now. We designed your website, but I would love to have you share your social media platforms or wherever you'd like to direct people.
Sure. So you can find out all of my latest if you follow my personal profile, for sure, which is facebook.com /RosemaryJMS. And or you can just search for me, Rosemary James. My professional Facebook page is facebook.com /Soul Mentor Rosemary James, all one word. And my website is rosemaryjames.com.
Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure to work with you. I honestly couldn't have asked for like a better dream client. So I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful for the experience and for you taking the time today to share about it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Calandra.
Yeah, of course. Have a good evening.
You too.